get into the podcast.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, guys.
All right. Welcome to Weirds of a Feather, an AuDHD-Adjacent podcast. I'm your host, Grace Beret.
And I'm your host, Kristen Stanhope.
And we are joined by a guest today. We have Seth Robinson in the studio.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me.
We went to middle and high school with Seth.
And apparently college.
Yeah,
that
a
we
little
didn't
bit of-
know about.
we kind of just discovered that.
Yeah. Fun fact.
I think I remember seeing your faces on campus and intentionally trying not to be perceived by you. So that's
It worked.
sweet, awesome.
Yeah, you kept a low profile. We had no idea
didn't
you were
even
there
know.
lurking in the bushes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As I am often wont to do.
We're like,
That's so
those
you.
are just the forestry majors.
Yeah, right.
Just studying bushes. Yeah. All right. Shoot, I didn't prepare a warm-up question, but I got one.
Oh, no, I got one.
Oh, you got one?
I
Okay,
prepared
yeah.
one.
All right,
Hit me with
Okay.
it.
I thought about this in the grocery store. Rice cakes.
We know them.
We know them.
Yeah.
We love them.
Yeah.
Are they crackers or are they cookies? Especially like the caramel ones
Yeah.
and the apple cinnamon
I
ones.
was going to say, those aren't cookies. What are you talking about? But no, they-
Are they
they're
cookies? Are they crackers?
See, I
And
think-
where does cookie start or end and cracker start? You know, what's the line?
what is the cracker to cookie line? Yeah.
See, you come here asking me like the hot dog sandwich kind of question.
It's different though. It's cracker
Right,
cookies.
you're right. So I'm gonna say tentatively, rice cakes are crackers, and my rationale
Mhm.
is that the way I'm envisioning the cracker to cookie spectrum is primarily an issue of texture.
Mm. Yeah, I can see
So-
that. 'Cause I think it's too dry and crumbly, more like a cracker.
But
than a
cookies could
cookie.
be dry and crumbly.
And
Have
they
you had the
suck, and they're
hard?
more like crackers.
Yeah,
right?
no one
the
likes
hard
them.
Chips
Right.
Say that should be
Ahoy.
Yeah.
considered a cracker.
Those are
Right.
dry and crumbly,
No,
not the chewy
not
ones.
the way that crackers are. I love a dry Chips Ahoy.
I'm not
Controversial
saying
opinion.
that, I'm not saying that they're
I am-
bad, but I'm
Right?
saying if we're going
I
on
love
texture
trash
alone,
cookies.
there's a lot of cookies that have cracker textures.
Yeah, but they're not like a ricey crumble. And I feel like the rice crumble, then you've got Rice Krispie treats. Where do those fall on the spectrum? Oh my
Oh, I
god.
see. Cool. Yeah, those are
No.
softer because of the marshmallow kind of stuff.
I would almost
Mm.
put those in like a cake. brownie pastry.
Yeah, I would kind of move them in there. See, I often categorize food as being bar or goop,
Mm.
and Rice Krispie treats do actually occupy an unfortunate hybrid.
That
That
is.
they are gar or boop.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. And actually, we've talked on this podcast about Rice Krispie
Because
treats.
someone had a question about it.
Someone asked, and obviously they're neither of these things, and this is where we keep getting stuck of they're neither. But if you had to choose, what was it? Is it a soup or a salad?
Super salad.
Yeah, Rice Krispie treat. Soup or a salad? It's neither is the answer.
Neither.
But
Neither, but I would say if I had to, I would say a salad.
And
Yeah,
you
of
would
course.
be correct, of
Yeah.
course.
You'd
I mean,
be
it's
right. Of
actually.
course,
I mean,
we
if you
all
think,
know this.
Well, no, think like it's closer to a salad in the sense of like potato salad.
potato
Oh,
salad.
I wasn't even thinking
right?
about potato
We're
salad.
thinking of like
See?
crumble on
We were
top.
talking- I was
Yep.
thinking of
Thank God
vegetable.
we brought you here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
exactly.
thing
Here I
we're
am.
here.
Working out some of these big
Well, let me
questions
go through
already.
our past warm-up questions now.
Yeah, get Seth's input on all of them. So we got
I
some
knew
final
that.
answers.
Right.
I knew that freshman philosophy class was going to come in clutch.
Right. Okay. Well, okay.
Really
one
paid
more.
off.
One more.
Yep,
Because
here we
this
go.
is a past question.
Yep.
Centaurs.
Mhm.
How would they sleep? How do they sleep?
How
How?
do they?
So, well, horses normally sleep standing up, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, I think it would stand to reason that a centaur would sleep standing next to something that the human part could lean on.
Mm.
That I think that's like one of our best answers.
Yeah, I think we were talking about some kind of like bunk bed situation where you're like at the top bunk and you're able to kind of just lay
You
down.
kinda like
Yeah.
A leaning rock.
I mean, I'll
maybe?
tell you,
Like
I've
I'm-
slept standing up. It's not great. It's doable. I imagine that, like, if we're talking about a fantasy animal like a centaur,
Mhm.
I would not be surprised if there could be some anatomical evolutionary structure in like the spine or something
Well, that's
that
what
could
I'm saying.
maintain
It's the
posture.
Mm.
horse human spine
Right.
connection.
The junction.
That's,
Yeah.
that's the weak point.
The HH junction,
yeah,
if you
the
will.
HH junction. It's
Yeah.
the weak point of
Human
the
horse.
centaur.
Yeah, junction.
Something
Yeah.
I've been stuck on for like years.
You
It's
specifically
like I
have been
can't.
stuck on
It doesn't.
Yeah, so I mean, I
Makes
would
sense.
say like the centaur would like, you know, like the horse is standing up and like maybe the person is like,
Mm.
you know, kind of like leaning forward on something.
I think that's the answer.
Right.
It's that, or Ted said wade into a pond.
Into
nice
a pond with like one of those head pillows.
like for the babies
Okay.
floating.
And then it just kind of floats.
Takes
I feel
pressure off
like-
the spine.
I mean, I feel like that'd probably be comfortable for a centaur for sure.
Right? That sounds good.
I
That's-
wouldn't want to sleep in a pond every night, though. That's cold.
Well, you're
Well,
not a
maybe you'd
centaur.
want to if you were a centaur.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they
can't
got a
judge.
whole lot of blood
They do.
to keep themselves warm. Sorry,
Right.
I should have.
I feel like the
So much
horse,
blood.
So much freaking blood.
Just-
How do you?
oodles of it.
Yeah,
But
just
they're big
containers and
animals,
containers
right?
of blood.
There's just like the bigger the animal, the more blood they have. But I feel like
You're
they
right.
would have a hard time regulating human half and horse half because the horse has more like fat and it has more muscle and it has more fur than the human half is kind of like, you know what? I don't
Well. So
know.
consider this, right? I mean, it depends on where the like respiratory digestive anatomy of the animal is stored.
Well, this was the other thing we talked
if
about.
but if we say, for example, that the majority of the internal organs are perhaps kept in the horse section,
That's what I said.
then the entire midsection of the human could be vasculature.
Right. Well, so here's my thought is, and we talked about this on Patreon. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, whatever. I think that if centaurs were real, they would have the human part would be a long esophagus, all like the innards,
Yep.
lungs, heart, horse lung would be in the body of the horse. But there would be kind of like an octopus, a second set of
Yep.
lungs and heart because it's such a like a
Right.
big thing and they're fast runners and everything and they have to like have blood flow everywhere. So they have second lungs and second smaller human size heart in the human part and then the rest of it all like the digestive tract and reproductives are in the horse part
Well, they
along with
could-
horse lung and horse heart.
That could be also counterpoint giraffes.
Well, so giraffes are interesting because their necks, kind of like our veins, have one-way valves. I think also, well, I don't want to say something incorrect. I'm pretty sure their arteries in their neck have one-way valves to help the blood get up there because that's like a huge thing. But
Yeah.
then they have to be careful
Mm.
drinking because it all rushes forward.
Whoa.
But not, they have like a safety mechanism. I forget how. But so when they lean forward, it doesn't just like dive into their head and they don't just like black out and collapse.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
I never really thought
Kristen.
about
Okay,
that.
so I'm gonna return for a question for you.
Mhm.
Yes.
So my understanding of anatomy comes to me kind of through secondhand sources, and I
Mhm.
think the best way I've learned to model the human body for the purposes of surgery is a way that was taught to me by my friend who's a surgical tech, is what's called the juice tubes and bits theory.
I've not heard this theory, but I love it already.
Yep.
So the fundamental assertion is
Mhm.
that all parts of the body can be categorized as either juice, tubes, or bits, and
I
that
love this.
all medical problems arise as some contradiction or inconsistency. Like, for example, if you have an arterial blockage, you
Mhm.
have bits in your tube when you're supposed to have juice.
Seems like
Oh
a
my God.
really
that is
great,
like the last
simplified
4
way.
years of my life in vascular surgery. That's all we did. We just had a
Right.
bits where
Yeah. If you're
where
doing a
there's-
bypass, the juice can't go through the tube, so you got to put new tubes around the bits in
Right.
the first tube, so the juice
Mm.
gets around the bits.
yeah.
Right?
I like that.
Or if you have like a colon cancer,
Yep.
there's a big bit in your
Mhm.
tube,
Yep.
so you got to take the bit out.
You gotta get the bit out. And you gotta make sure you get all of the
You
bit.
gotta send it to pathology to make
Yep.
sure all the bits are out.
Yep.
If you got more bits, you got to go back in.
Too many bits.
Too many bits.
Too many bits. It's all going down the tubes.
I really like that.
This
I feel like
is-
you could have just taught a bunch
Yeah.
of people something, a simplified way to think of that.
We've just all had anatomy lesson. I
know
love that.
doctors are in school for so long.
For
We could've
so
just
long,
had the tubes,
Tubes to
and-
bits.
yeah, whatever.
I'm gonna probably use
Juice.
this with my patients on Monday. Is
I
We'll
use
send
it. I
it.
use it with my students. Please, for everyone listening, please know I am by no means anywhere close to a doctor.
Yeah, I mean, who is really a
I
doctor?
mean,
you
Yeah,
know?
right.
No one's
Not
really
us.
a doctor.
Not
yeah.
us.
Anyone can lead DHHS these days. So.
apparently
True
yeah.
that.
You
Yeah.
can even have worms in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
shouldn't
half
hold
of
you
it
back.
gone.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to hold you back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into things a little bit. All right, let's get into things. Well, now that you're already talking about it, do you want to talk a little bit about what you do for work, just so we can kind of set the scene and then we can get into little accomplishments?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just for my own sense of sanity, I'm just going to say here, anything I do say here it is my opinion. It is not a reflection of my employer, who will remain nameless.
Great.
Uh,
Now we got the legal jargon out of the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I'm a healthcare educator. And that's probably where I'll leave it. But I teach I teach perioperative sciences to new hires at multiple hospitals throughout the community.
This is important stuff.
Yeah.
I wish I took one of your classes because I think it's important for surgical PAs to like know this stuff.
Yeah, and I do whenever we get incoming either surgical techs or OR nurses,
Mhm.
I do give them a lecture on the sort of
I want to lecture.
other side of it.
Take
could get
notes.
one.
Well,
Yeah.
you can
could.
bring me back here.
Yeah. Well, I'll take notes.
Yeah, get him back in the pod.
Yeah.
Okay, should we do a little accomplishments?
Yeah.
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 All right.
All right.
Do you know the song?
Do you know of it?
Um,
The lyrics are complicated.
I'm really egregiously awkward at points like this.
That's
Mhm.
So-
that's
the whole point.
podcast.
Yeah.
All right,
That's,
all right.
It's
and also I do a lot of editing
Okay.
to
Yeah.
kind of smush things together,
gonna look
take
great.
out any
Yeah.
pauses. Sometimes I leave them in because the awkwardness is funny,
That's
and we kind of lean into it by trying to be as bad as possible.
yeah. The
sometimes with
worse, the
songs.
better. I think with the songs.
But see, at least your theme song has been like going through my head nonstop for the past 3 days. I can't get it out of my fucking head.
Oh. Well, we also
I'm
have
honored.
Steve, who's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's my
Some-
dad playing the ukulele.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I was wondering. I was
he's
like,
like
okay.
trying to
Yeah.
keep us on beat, and we're just like, "Nah!"
Yeah, I turned down our voices a lot and kind
Yeah.
of turned up the ukulele.
Yeah.
So
It
it sounds nice. And so I can kind of do the same with
Yeah.
these.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
And if you don't feel comfortable singing, we can take the lead. But also, it's not possible to embarrass yourself on this
Yeah,
podcast
it's
because
really
we're embarrassing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the concept.
the
So,
bar is high to out embarrass us.
Yeah.
So good
Okay.
luck doing that.
Yeah. Maybe if you make it a challenge.
Yeah,
it'll feel
every week
better.
we come on here and say something worse and worse,
Yeah.
more embarrassing.
All right.
And we have a whole segment about it called Pizza Secrets, where we tell something that we did like.
I have a great one for you.
I'm
when we
so
get
I
to
excited.
can't wait.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
You're
Yeah.
gonna love
Earlier,
it.
Seth was like, why do you guys call it Pizza Secrets?
And
I was like,
oh,
I think we were eating pizza.
We
when
were
we
eating
came up
pizza.
with it.
we were eating pizza. I think it just said pizza.
You did say pizza.
Oh man, my
Such a
mom's
Mina.
accent is really coming out.
It is.
This is what happens when you spend time in the north.
North.
The North, yeah.
We were eating pizza.
Yeah. Telling secrets.
We were drinking White Claws.
There it is.
Ain't
There's
no
the
laws
mi-
when you're drinking
right?
claws.
And it
There's
and
a
we
missing
s-
piece.
And we were talking about shitty little things that we did.
Mm.
And it's one of us. I don't know if it was me or you. You said like, "Oh, what's a little secret among friends?"
And then it became a
And now
pizza
it's
secret
Pizza
among friends.
Secrets.
Yeah. I'm excited to get there and hear your
Yeah.
pizza secret. All right, but for now, let's do little accomplishments.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll do a countdown and we'll do it on 3.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Little accomplishments, but big in our hearts.
You nailed it.
You nailed it.
All
You're
right,
natural.
Seth, what did you accomplish?
So I've been exercising, which is something that I really struggle with a lot.
Good job.
Yeah, so back in June, I couldn't do any push-ups, and today I did 15.
Oh my gosh, good for
Whoa,
you.
nice.
What have you been doing for exercising?
So there's there's a program called I think it's just 100 push-ups.
Mm.
A friend of mine.
What do you do?
Well, funny thing
Give
about
us a step
that.
by step.
So you know the goal, of course, is to try to get to 100 consecutive push-ups. It's basically it's spaced out over the course of several weeks. It's like a 6-week progression
Okay.
where even if you can't do like really any push-ups when you start, there's different tracks based on what you're able to accomplish each week.
Mm.
So I've done it before, but I'm older now, and I have not really been physical since COVID
Mm.
because kind of hard to do martial arts when there's a world-ending
Yeah, I can imagine that
apocalyptic.
Yeah. Gotta put the damper
that
on
would
things.
be
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
So so I'd actually started going through the 100 push-ups program, just doing like assisted push-ups, just like on my knees or whatever.
Mhm.
And so I worked my way through that, and then today I did like my test to see how many full push-ups I could do, which is going to affect how many I start next week.
That's awesome.
That's exciting.
Yeah, they also have it for squats too, so I'm up to like 50 consecutive squats.
Whoa.
And
Dang.
then every day at work, I walk up every flight of stairs I can. So every day I walk up about 10 flights of stairs.
Good for you. Yeah, it's like those little things that
They all add
seem
up.
like, what's the point? It doesn't really matter, but they do add up. And I have trouble
Mhm.
getting myself to do those, but they do matter. Yeah,
And it's whatever you do.
Yeah.
It's more than the you that did nothing.
exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, I feel
That's
like I
true.
always have it as like, well, it's not as much as it could be, but it's
Yeah.
like,
I used to be able to
anything
do
is-
more.
anything is
Yeah,
better
who
than
gives a
nothing.
shit?
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah.
I will actually say though, you bring that up, Kristen. There is difficulty because like I've like part of my struggle with neurodivergence is like my weight has fluctuated extremely over the
Mhm.
years. And it can be hard where I know I have been in very like, at least for me, peak physical fitness before. And to have to be like I used to do 100 push-ups every day.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And
I don't
and-
think I've done 100 push-ups in my life.
Yeah, that's a
and
lot.
I got to that point this summer where I was like, I can't do one.
Yeah.
So there is, there's some emotions you have to work through there, right? And you just have to figure out some kind of framework to tell yourself, like, well, okay, like I'm not where I'd like to be, right? But if I dwell on that, I'm not going to get any closer.
That's true.
Exactly.
So
That's
Yeah, especially
true.
if you always kind of consider yourself like an athlete or athletic, it is really hard to kind of come to terms with like, I can't do any of what I used to be able to do.
Mhm.
But yeah, that attitude doesn't really change things or help. So yeah. Have you built it into like your routine throughout the day where you do it at like a set point in your routine?
yeah, and it's so physical exercise has always been difficult for me because I have like the can't form habits thing.
Mm,
Same.
it's
So-
very difficult.
Right. So like, like you go to the gym, right? You try to like start an exercise program. People always tell you like, it's all right, it'll get easier. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't get easier.
Sucks
It's
every
so
time.
Like, oh,
hard.
yeah, you just get used to it. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not used to it. Like, this sucks. I hate it.
Yeah.
I never
yeah.
stopped hating it. But martial arts is helpful for me because like it's intellectually stimulating, right? Like you have to try to not get punched in the head, you know?
Yeah, I think that would be motivation enough.
Yeah, there's a level
Yeah.
of intrinsic motivation there,
Yeah.
right? So it keeps your brain activated at least until it gets rattled a little bit. Pretty sure I don't have CTE. I think we're good there.
Do you wear
Won't know until you're
helmets?
dead?
No, because okay.
Is that a controversy, like helmets versus no helmets?
I wouldn't wear helmets if I'm doing unarmed sparring
Okay.
because
Because it's a weapon.
no, because what makes concussions is transfer of mass.
Mm.
So the bigger the gloves and the bigger the helmet, specifically in boxing, the higher the risk of concussion.
Oh.
Oh.
So in the olden days, like if you guys remembered like Looney Tunes or whatever, sometimes they would do like some kind of like lampoon or joke where there's like a boxing match and they have people bringing cards around like round 156 or whatever. That's kind of how it actually used to be in bare knuckle boxing. Because in bare knuckle boxing, you don't punch people in the head because you could break your fingers.
Mm.
So you punch people in the body and you wear them down. And so you would get really bloody. And it kind of got to this point where it would seem like it kind of seemed like an uncivilized or savage sport. And so then they introduced boxing gloves. And so now you're not bleeding as much. Of course, you still get crazy powerhouses like Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, cutting skin all the time. But you basically trade one form of injury for another. And so now it's wild because if you watch like the new bare knuckle boxing leagues that are coming out, these people are coming from boxing and MMA and they're fighting bare knuckle like they're fighting boxing. And so they're actually swinging right for the head, which is terrifying
Mhm.
Yeah.
because you never would have done that if you came from a bare knuckle background in the first place.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
Wow, sorry, you just opened up that can of worms.
Yeah.
If
That's
I'm
what
doing
this whole
weapons-based
podcast
sparring,
I didn't know.
It's
I didn't,
interesting, yeah.
there's-
if I'm
there's
doing
so
historical
much.
fencing, if we're doing sword play, yes, I'm going to wear a helmet because that sword is a lever that is going to transfer like exponential amounts of force. It's literally a force multiplier.
Mm.
And I don't want my skull to get cracked. So
Right.
yes, I'm going to
Or
wear
your
a helmet.
eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Be worried
check
about
it.
my eyes.
Even though you draw them on, yeah. Which is a joke we made off the podcast, so you'll have no context for that, which is always the best jokes.
Yeah, that's what makes it better.
Yeah, I think we talked a lot like years ago on this podcast about, forming habits, new habits is difficult for anyone, but for ADHDers, it takes us at least 2 times longer for that habit to stick.
Mhm.
And even then, it's like every single night, like how long have we been brushing our teeth for? Like every single night.
Mhm.
Still at age 35, I have to like force myself to do this every single night. I could
Right.
have a habit for years and years, and then something changes about that habit that
Mhm.
throws off my routine. I'll just never do it
Never
again.
do it again.
And then you beat yourself up and you're like, what the hell am I doing? I'm like 35 years old. Like, what
Right.
the hell?
Yeah.
I should know better, but I
Right.
don't, and I
Yeah.
won't.
Yep.
It's like the manual versus automatic thing. And that's how it is with autism and ADHD, where people are like, well, I have good social skills, or I can do this, or I can do that. It's like, okay, but is it an automatic process, or do you have to like manually get yourself to do it? And that's how I feel about habits. It never really becomes this like natural, I don't even have to think about it. I just do it. No, I have to think about it
Yeah,
every single time.
Every goddamn
And like
time.
motivate
Every
myself
day.
to do it.
Yep.
So
Drag
Sucks.
myself there.
Yeah.
if you're neurodivergent and you have trouble going to the gym to exercise, maybe like try a sport or
Mm.
dance or martial arts.
Yeah,
Have
something that's
someone-
more motivating and doesn't
Yeah.
rely on so much, just like kind of force and
Or like limit those barriers. Like I do like the exercise bike at home because I don't have to go to a gym.
Yep.
And that's really nice.
Yep.
Or like a sport with teammates, now you have people holding you accountable.
you gotta
Yep.
show
You
up.
got to show up or you're
Yeah.
gonna get yelled at.
And you
So-
gotta like solo exercise is like, you're alone with your thoughts.
Mm.
That's a scary place to be.
That can be a scary place to be.
Yeah. Yeah, better to keep yourself distracted.
You don't
At all
have time
times.
to think about the awkward thing you said 13 years ago when someone's kicking you in the head.
That's fair.
That is the
That's
nice
fair.
thing about
I've got
being kicked
bigger
in the head, yeah.
priorities at that time.
There is-
yeah.
there is-
Giving me that.
There is liberation to be found in consensual violence.
Oh, that's a great poll
That's a
quote.
great
Put on the website.
yeah.
Yep.
We're gonna have it as our banner.
I
They're gonna
that.
be like, "What is this podcast about?"
We don't know, man.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff. A bunch of stuff. All right, Kristen, what have you accomplished?
I made it down here, and I was just a little bit late, and that's my accomplishment.
That was
'cause,
impressive.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
did break a couple traffic laws, but not too many.
You said 5. You were here at 5:11.
Yeah, so
Boom.
I
I'm impressed.
I
That's
pulled
pretty
some
freaking good.
Right?
I mean, I could have. Yeah, I just had to leave work. I had like set boundaries with people. I was like, I'm leaving. This is my time. I
Good.
crossed those boundaries. Of course, I was late, but there, I made it.
You get a 10-minute buffer. I
Yeah.
feel like always
I
for ADHD.
and you know what I did?
And
I've
I
been-
give you an extra minute as the guest. So there's,
Thank you.
there's your
Very
11
Thank
minutes.
thoughtful
I
of you.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I had my like, I'm leaving at this time, no matter what, and that was like probably 15 minutes before I really had to leave, and then I left 15 minutes after.
That's a good
So,
buffer. It's good to know yourself.
Tried. So
That's what you have to do at a hospital.
yeah. And I was just like, and then I was finally like, I'm leaving, and I left. So yeah, there we
Good
go.
job.
Got
Way to
here.
Hold
Made
those
it.
boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You're here.
Yeah. What did you accomplish?
I started using my walking treadmill again.
Oh,
Somewhere.
Oh, nice.
It's
How
back
is
up,
that? Do
yeah.
you like it?
I love it. Yeah, I really.
I thought it was broken.
It's working.
Oh,
I just wasn't using it. I go through phases where I'm really good at it. The problem is that like I like to start working on stuff on my computer while I'm like sitting at the breakfast bar, like still eating my breakfast, and that helps like get me into the work. But then I'm kind of in sitting mode, and then I'm like really into my tasks, and then I don't want to like break my focus of
Mhm.
like going upstairs and transferring everything. So I'll just stay. I mean, it's transitioning into the wet.
Into the
It's
wet.
like once I'm in there,
Yeah.
now I want to stay in there. I don't want to break the focus.
Well, can you have the walking treadmill at the breakfast bar?
No, because it's not high enough, and then it'd be in
Oh,
the
yeah,
way.
Yeah, yeah. And you're like, yeah.
So it'd be ideal if I could like eat my breakfast, but then I don't want to eat it while I'm like standing. So it's not really a big real problem, but it is for me. It's like even just that barrier of like having to make the transition once I'm already in the zone of focus is hard.
Yeah.
But I have been taking my breakfast with me and just doing a very, very slow walk and putting like Sex and the City on my TV and just starting with that, getting in the zone. Then I feel good. I'm walking.
AutoZone.
Yep, the AutoZone. Didn't we just make that joke on here the other day? Yeah.
When
You were meant to be a guest.
Yeah.
When you like first made that joke, I had already like said it in my head, and then I heard you guys say it, and I was like, yes.
Don't you love that? My favorite is when I'm listening to the podcast back and there's someone makes a comment and I have like a response in my head and then I say that same thing on the podcast. I'm like, oh, good thing I already thought of that. Yeah. So clever.
I don't remember thinking it. Like, I remember
Yeah, with someone else.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I listen back to the show, I'm hearing all the jokes for the first time again. And I'm like, oh, what a nice point. That was a good one.
It's a present from past Kristen.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great thing about memory problems.
Yeah.
Yep.
You get to experience stuff like it's brand new, even when it's not.
Yeah, you meet new people, you see new things, you meet new people.
It's a good one. You're full of dad ADHD jokes, I feel like. And you
In
are
wisdom.
a father, so that fits.
Your
Yeah.
father?
Yeah.
How did
Where have you been?
Where have I
Yeah,
been?
come on, Chris.
Under a
Jeez.
rock?
Yeah, clearly.
When?
That's all there is in Augusta.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, well, let's get into it.
Yeah, sorry. I'm
no, that's
off
fine.
topic.
That was all my accomplishment was. I finally got myself to do it, and now I've been doing it, and it feels good. So that's
good.
it.
I'm proud
Nice.
of you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. But yeah, if you want to kind of
Yeah.
get into things more.
So like most things in my life, it's not simple or straightforward, but I'll try to give the abbreviated version. So let me think for a second.
It's
here.
so hard to condense information
Yeah.
like that.
Tell us your life story.
Yep.
In like
4 to 7
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
So first, about 4,500 years ago, around the invention of writing.
I'm glad we're starting there. Yeah. Don't want to miss
this
a
is
thing.
all important.
Yeah.
So,
You were born.
I know. Yeah. A dear friend of mine had given birth, and I knew that the circumstances around this were unorthodox and would be disadvantageous. As a friend, I asked if they wanted visitors, and they let me go up and visit them. And I saw the kid, and from what I knew at the time, I knew that that kid did not have a father. And when you see a child that needs help, you help the child. Now, I had no plans to just be like, well, I'm your dad now. But I was like, well, I'm going to do what I can to be in this kid's life to the extent that, mom will let me. Because, he's going to need some kind of role model or something, and like, with my parents divorcing as a child, I kind of know somewhat of like how hard it is to be a single mom.
Yeah.
And like, if you see a single mom that needs help, you help the single mom.
Right.
So, I had started spending time with them, and our relationship deepened. We ended up getting together. He was born in 2017. I'm trying to piece together the timeline here. I think I proposed to her. I think we were engaged December of 2020. They moved in shortly after, at the start of 2021. And so, he was like just about to turn 4. He was 3 years old. That's when we started living together. And so I've been like taking on the role specifically as live-in parent since he was about like 4 years old.
Oh, that's a really beautiful story.
That is a really
That was really
beautiful-
wonderful of you. I know you said when you see a child or a single mother, you help them, but that's definitely not everyone's instinct. So
I can't
it's really wonderful.
Yeah.
I can't imagine an alternative.
Oh,
What a beautiful story.
yeah, that is a beautiful story.
Aw. And now you said he's 8?
Yeah, he's 8 years old. He's in 3rd grade.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, making all sorts of friends.
Oh, good.
That's wonderful.
Good.
Yeah. Along the lines of like the whole neurodivergence thing, it's very clear he has ADHD. I also believe he probably has signs of autism.
It's Tylenol.
Yep, it's Tylenol, right? But it's one of those things where I look at my beautiful, perfect son running around, being a little weirdo, making weird little noises, fidgeting with shit,
Yeah.
you know, being a little gremlin. And since that first time I laid eyes on him, it has never been hard to love him.
Oh,
Oh, God.
And that can come with difficulties because growing up, I often felt that I was difficult to love.
Mm.
And so when I see him, I'm kind of forced to realize that maybe I'm not difficult to love either. There is grief in the warmth. It is bittersweet, but I think in the end it is more sweet than bitter.
A really wonderful approach.
Yeah,
I'm
that
gonna
is a
cry.
really-
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of neurodivergent parents where once they start raising their own children and seeing some of those traits that were always labeled as difficult or unlovable
Mhm.
or like a choice, you can recognize of like, oh, that was just an unmet need and that behavior was attempting to have that need met. I wasn't being purposefully bad or trying to harm my parents or
Mhm.
make things difficult for them.
Mhm.
It was just unmet needs. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. And I think, it's nice seeing as two childless people.
Child free. I'm not
child-free.
childless, I'm child free.
I have
No offense to all the
chickens.
children out there.
Yeah. It's nice to see that there's so much more, with like social media, there's so much more variety of like resources out there, even if you're just like watching someone on TikTok being like, this really made me mad today because my kid did this. You can like, oh, I relate to that. As problematic as sometimes social media can be,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more voices being heard, especially like diverse voices or neurodivergent voices that normally wouldn't be heard with social media and with the internet. And it's nice to see that in some ways, in other ways, maybe it's a little problematic, but maybe the next generation is finally getting that support because there is more knowledge about ADHD and more in autism, and people are more aware of it, and there's more supports out there than when we were growing up. Because
I also feel like parents understanding their own neurodivergences more has
but there's
definitely
this
helped a
research.
ton.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying, there's more resources for people, for adults with neurodivergent and for kids with neurodivergence, and I think on the whole that's good. And now that I say that, that sounds dumb, but
It's something you said.
it's
That was certainly words. Those were the words of all time.
No, you're right. Just like the more awareness we have of like the variety of how these traits present and ways to support them, and understanding that this isn't a purposeful bad behavior, it's just a result of this unmet need, I think is helpful
And
for
it can
everyone.
be kind of weird sometimes. I'm like, you were talking with the social media thing too. Like if anyone out there is a parent, like you do want to be careful sometimes. Like I think my perspective can be useful sometimes. I kind of have to be aware of where I'm coming from. And like when I think about how I was growing up, my parents did the best with what they had. I don't think I could do better than they did if I was in their shoes. I had a lot of problems. I had a very difficult time in many ways. So, sometimes my wife will worry like, oh, like, I don't know if we're doing enough, which is a totally fair worry. But I'm just like, man, he's got so much more than I did. Like, he will be fine.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not that I don't worry.
Yeah.
Like I still want to make sure he's getting what's best. But like
Mhm.
some things I'm just like, man, like no, trust me.
Yeah.
Like I've
If I can make it through, much
Anyone
worse.
can.
like
Yeah.
he's all right. He's got the support.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys sound like really, really wonderful, understanding, supportive parents. So he's
Yeah.
lucky to have you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. We try, and that's all we can ask.
Now, do you mind me asking about like your neurodivergence?
I mean, I'm here, aren't I?
That's what we're here to talk about.
Okay. Well, I didn't know.
Actually, that's off limits.
Yeah, no, sorry.
No, cut the mic.
Yeah, cut his mic.
Yeah. So, were your neurodivergence, ADHD,
So
and
So I am clinically diagnosed with major depressive disorder and ADHD I type inattentive. We're
I
all
knew you were always staring off at something.
yeah,
It's just staring off.
right. And I don't have an autism diagnosis, but everyone's pretty sure.
But come on.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that's
so about the autism diagnosis.
Mhm.
Okay. So actually, let me see if I can hit some of these points here.
Yeah.
Around the time I was 27, I can't remember if anything in particular was like precipitating it, but I was just going through like a really, really fucking rough depressive episode.
Mm.
And I got to this point where like it wasn't like anything like out of the ordinary. I just woke up one day and I was just like, hey, if I don't do anything, I'm not gonna be here.
Mm.
So I just kind of like, I don't know, followed this inner drive, and I was like, all right, screw it. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go on a Google. I'm literally just gonna type in therapist and just see what happens. And the first result looked very promising, and it was nearby. And I was just like screw it. Like I'm just going, because I didn't even have I didn't even have like an HMO set up. I was like on the other, they call it like the Healthy Saver health plan, which is where you pay more money all the time.
yeah.
So I was just like, here's the $200. Tell me what's wrong with me. So, we ended up getting off to a good place there, and we tried to do the whole therapy thing where it's like, well, just like figure it out.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, okay.
I got
Why
it
didn't you
figured out. I
figure
am
it
sad.
And so we did that for a few months, and I was like, Doc, like, I'm really trying to figure it out, but it's not going.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I was hoping you would have.
Yeah, it's kinda like why
paying
I'm
me
here.
Thought that
money
was your
to
job,
like
yeah.
figure it out. You
Right.
know.
And he's like, well, I have like a colleague that I work with that, she does like mental health diagnosis and prescriptions and stuff. I was like, hey, yeah, all right, let's try that. So I went over there and we did that little survey, and I was like, yeah, you have turbo depression. And
She's like, you're gonna need.
yeah.
You're gonna just start writing a couple
control.
prescriptions here. Yeah.
Wrote me up the script for Prozac, and that was kind of like my first experience with like any kind of medication, so SSRI type thing, and it for me it worked really well, and it got to the point where it's like, oh wait, shit, okay, so now that I'm taking the medication, now I can actually kind of like do the emotional things that I was talking about in therapy, and like now it actually kind of works.
Mhm.
So that was really good. And so kind of got like the depression kind of, I guess, figured out. But then I kept running into other problems, a lot of stuff with executive function, focusing issues, things like that. And so because I'd already gone through the process the first time, and what was it? I still didn't quite know what was going on, but then it was around the time that my wife moved in, so it was around 2021, and so I was living with her, and she had just recently got an ADHD diagnosis, and so I saw like up close how she was living, and then how it started to change when she was on Adderall, and I was like, "Fuck, that's like the same." Like I struggle with all that shit too.
That
Yeah.
could be me.
That could
Yeah.
be me. So I went back to the psychiatric nurse practitioner, and like she did the whole thing, like fill out the survey for yourself, and then have like a parent or something fill it out.
Mm.
And my mom did the whole thing. We're like, I just thought you were normal and happy the whole time.
That's because it's genetic, Mom.
Yeah.
My mom did the same.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, I think every photo of me that exists as a child, I just look abused. Like, I don't know, like, like I don't know where you're getting this, Ma. So she wasn't a whole lot of help there.
Yeah.
She tried. She gave it the college try.
Yeah.
It's like, doesn't everybody feel that way?
Yeah, like, no, Mom.
Yeah. What's your
Some
standard
people are
for
happy.
normal? Yeah.
Right. So I got diagnosed with ADHD there, and then she prescribed me Vyvanse.
Oh, the good
The
stuff.
Cadillac.
Yep. And that was a steely gaze you just gave me.
I'm jealous. You mean my Victorian sad child?
Yes, your
Yeah,
Victoria,
yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Yes, I had similar energy in my
Yeah.
childhood,
Yes.
so we can
Yeah.
relate there.
A couple of pasty, long-faced
Yeah.
Victorian
Yeah.
children sat in the corner, won't smile in pictures.
I just remember my mom just looking at the pictures and like my brother's like, smile. And she's like, why do you look like this?
Why are you like this?
And I know she meant like, why are you looking into the camera like this? But it just like came out like, why do you look like this?
Anyone.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
can't
know.
take good pictures.
Nope.
Yeah.
Never have, never will.
No.
But
So with the Vyvanse thing, it was again a lot of my experience coming to terms with all the neurodivergent stuff is it is very simultaneously feelings of like relief and happiness, also intertwined either with sorrow or rage.
Mm.
Because like I took it and I just smiled. Like I smiled naturally and authentically, and I don't fucking do that.
Mm.
And the bees, you know, the bees,
The head bees?
the head bees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they stopped buzzing.
okay, I'm on track now.
Yeah,
I was
that's-
lost
that's
for
why
a
I
little
smiled,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, all right,
Okay, I
thank
knew where
you.
you were
All right,
going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Bees.
smelling what I'm stepping in.
Yeah, yeah.
So the bees went quiet, and I was like I was happy for like a minute, and I was like, oh my god, like this is great. And I was like, wait a minute, is this how it is for everyone all the fucking time?
Yep. This could have been my whole
This
life.
is how easy it is.
Mhm.
Yep.
I've been like forcing myself to go through this shit for like the past
life
30
on hard
years.
mode.
Yep.
I'm still fucking pissed about it. Like,
Yeah. Like, oh, it wasn't just me not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
It was that
Right.
everyone's
You just-
brains work better.
Yeah.
because that
You
was
just
my
have
thing
to
in
apply
school.
yourself.
That's it. That's what I
Yeah.
always got. That's what you know.
He's
you
very
just
smart. He
apply-
just needs to apply
Right.
himself. Yeah.
Just
God,
needs
go
to
fuck
apply-
yourself.
yes.
Jeez.
So
Oh, yeah. I got that all the
Yeah.
time. Yep.
Oh, he has so much potential.
So potential.
Oh my
I've
God.
got so much goddamn
I-
Has some
potential.
fucking kinetic potential.
you guys
for
are
you right
very
here,
similar.
asshole.
I was a little different.
Well,
They're like,
yeah.
you work really hard, you stupid child who can't read.
No, you were dyslexic.
Just
you had
wildly
undiagnosed
Yeah, they're
dyslexia.
like, oh, she just doesn't read.
Right, and that's crazy because like
That well, so what you're describing is when we were
Yeah.
talking about dyslexia. That's kind of how I felt, like that rage
Yeah.
and like sorrow. If like someone just like helped me read how a dyslexic would learn to read, like I would. Oh my gosh, like I would be that would solve all my problems, but it would solve a lot of them
It
in
would've
elementary
helped.
school. It would have
Yeah.
helped. I think I would have like gone through life not thinking that I was like a default idiot and that I was just like kind of like cosplaying myself as like a smarter person.
Mm.
And I think that like that rage is like such a, you're just like, why didn't anybody see this, or why didn't anybody do something about
why
this?
didn't
It's-
anybody help?
help me
Mhm.
as a child? Like I don't know these things, and you go to these people, Mrs.
Friggin' Mrs. Getchell.
Her. And she's like, she's just a dumb kid.
God.
No, it just that when you're describing that rage, I understand it so well.
Mm-hmm. And you really, it's an important moment because you have to figure out, what am I going to do with that?
Hmm.
Because perhaps.
And so he
perhaps-
started murdering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and-
Yeah,
yeah,
I just
so
came
this
in
is
and
our
just started
first serial
blasting.
killer. Yeah.
So,
He's got goals.
Yeah. He's focused now. He can really focus on those goals.
but when you feel that rage, right? That is that is what can turn us into monsters.
Mm.
That is what can perpetuate oppression. That is what can burn away whatever hope there is for the rest of our lives or the lives of the people around us. Because like that classic thing, right? Like, it's either I suffered so no one else should have to, or I suffered so that everyone else needs to.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hold the latter view, you're trying to pay a debt that can never be filled, because you'll never get that time back. And forcing other people to go through that suffering isn't going to give you that time back, no matter how much you try to tell yourself it will. The pain that we feel in the years of our life is nothing stretched across the future of humanity.
Damn, you're dropping bars.
Yeah,
We have to-
I was not
Podcast.
ready. I was not ready for
You
this.
you have to let it go, and you have to help everyone who comes after, because that's the only way to actually give people those years back. We can't get ours back, but we can make sure it doesn't get taken from others.
Really wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I feel like my rage kind of compelled me to start this podcast of like, and I definitely overdid it for a while where I was just like telling everyone they had ADHD. Not anyone. Everyone who I knew had ADHD once I recognized it in myself.
Yeah.
You gotta let them come
because
to
I didn't want them to go for 1 second longer
How
without
could you
them
not know
having
this?
this
Yeah.
knowledge,
Mhm.
to the point where it was like overbearing probably. But it's like once I saw it, I wanted them to see it because it was so life-changing, and like what a gift to be able to recognize that about yourself.
And it's hard, right? Because you get the radar.
Yep.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And it's like you might not know anything about cars, but then like the minute you buy a car and you know what model you have, you see it all over the place.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so sometimes, like, I don't know, for me, I just like the way I express it's like I can smell it on you. Just like,
Yeah. Well, it's
You
that
know,
pattern recognition.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
even when we're not conscious that we're picking
Right.
up the pattern, it's like something about you.
Yeah, you
where
got a little
same
Spotted
wavelength.
from across the room.
yeah.
Yep.
Some turn a little sideways there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems, at least for me, it seems so obvious in like anyone I meet who's definitely neurodivergent. I'm like,
And then you're
I
almost
see what's
like
going on.
baffled. You're like, well, how did you not know about yourself?
Yeah.
But like,
I didn't
years,
know.
we didn't
Yeah.
know our whole lives.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
only know
Yeah.
your internal experience.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
So like especially like if you have dyslexia
Yeah.
and you're reading, and that's like you only know that that's what reading is.
Yeah.
It like that's the struggle that you have to deal with. Like, oh, that must be reading for everybody.
Yeah. They're just better at it than I am.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
fairly certain I have dyscalculia.
Mm.
Oh.
I don't know for
Mm.
certain.
I think Kristen does too.
Yeah. Probably.
yeah.
There's not a lot. There's a lot going on up here.
Yep.
It's mixed up.
The whole alphabet soup.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And it doesn't say nice words when you shake the bowl.
No.
It's
No.
usually swears.
And it's
Yeah.
yeah. It's just I want to. It's hard because I wish I could like just spend a day as someone without dyslexia, so then I would know like,
Mhm.
okay, this is the standard, and then this is what I'm doing. It's so hard to know what the standard is when you are not the standard, and you can't, and there's no
And you can't even. I mean, you couldn't even watch a video
right,
of what it's supposed to look like
right,
Yeah. Because your brain is taking in
because
the
your
information.
consciousness is always interpreted through
especially
your
if it has
senses.
subtitles.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, you got no hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you go through the classic thing of where you get diagnosed with ADHD, you get on stimulants, it kind of gives you the executive functioning to be able to do stuff better, and then you realize like, it seems like there's something else going
Yeah.
on here.
Yeah. So I like I said, everyone's pretty sure. So I suspected and still suspect that I have autism. So I talked to my therapist about it. I talked to my psychiatric nurse about it. And they were both like, we don't really have experience with this. So my PNP referred me to a neurologist for an evaluation. And that was something. So
A neurologist?
yeah. Is that sending the flag for you already?
I just
Were they giving you like brain scans?
No. Well, and that's the thing. So like the way it was being
neurologists
described
are for
to me.
like Parkinson's,
So I think
multiple sclerosis.
I think this will make sense
Okay.
when we get to the end.
Okay,
Cause,
I'm listening.
Because what you're saying does kind of mesh with this. So, and I thought it was going to be like a whole brain scan deal.
Yeah.
It's right. And I was like, all right, great. Like I can actually like see like, oh, hey, there it is. There's the autism.
Yeah.
Yeah, right
Like,
in that
this-
little section.
This
Bingo.
big brain-shaped
Yep.
thing.
Yeah, a little train track going around there. So I go in there, right? And so like I'm talking to the neurologist, and he gives me like the interview, and it was I want to say I think it was like a 2-day thing. Yeah, so I go in there and I spend 8 hours with him. We do like an interview where I give him like the shortened life story and whatever, and like why I'm here and all that stuff. And then he runs me through the gauntlet of tests. And
There's gonna be a better way.
so
2 days? That's awful.
So then the first thing he does is he gives me an IQ test. Okay.
Great.
Yep.
I hate this.
Great start.
I don't
Yep.
like this.
And so he was like, well, you have an IQ of over 140. So
Damn.
you are too smart to be mentally ill.
That's how that works.
I don't like this. I don't like this.
And I was like, I'm not a doctor, but
I don't like
I
that.
kind of think that's bullshit.
Yeah, that doesn't,
I
that
don't
doesn't sound
like
right.
that.
Yeah.
That's not okay. That's not
I
how
feel like
that.
if anything-
That's not how that works.
I feel like if anything, the smarter you are, the more aware you are
Yeah.
of the atrocities of the world.
And do you guys ever get this where people are like, oh, wow, you're so smart. And you're just like, thanks. I wish it fucking helped.
Yeah.
I am so
I just
self-aware.
wanna
It's so
be-
great.
Yeah.
That like
Great.
blissful ignorance, but like I
Yeah.
just want to be.
It's always just green lights for you. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just-
You don't know enough to be angry.
Right, yeah.
You're just like, things are
Man.
simple.
Have
Yep.
you ever met someone who's like that though?
Yes.
Oh, they're like the.
I mean, I
happy-
don't want it, but
I don't
Yeah.
want it, but
sometimes
you're just,
it seems nice.
Sometimes you're just like, wow, I wish I were you.
Just let me have it for a day. You
Yeah.
know? Let me
Yeah.
just
Wouldn't
like
that be nice?
shut my brain off.
hit the off button,
Yeah.
So
Makes
so
me
he gives me the IQ test, and he gives me a bunch of other cognitive tests, right? And so I'm trying to explain to him, because I'm smart and I'm painfully self-aware. Because he's like, well, like you're not showing any deficit of attention. And I was like, all right, well, here's the thing I have to explain to you, Doc.
Nah,
Okay.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue. I'm sorry. I'm angry for you.
No, I appreciate it. It's solidarity.
Yeah.
You know?
It's garbage.
It is garbage, damn it. So,
All right.
God, that felt so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let it out.
Podcast
Yeah.
is for.
So I'm trying to tell him, like, all right, Doc, like, I know what you're looking for, but I have to tell you, like, I love this shit. Like these kinds of like puzzles and things you're giving me. Like,
That was Christopher's
Christopher
problem.
had the same
yeah,
thing.
I was like, I'm telling
hyper-focused
you,
on it.
this
Yeah.
is really fun
told
for
him
me.
to apply to Mensa.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know this boy. He's a smart man. He just really likes games.
Clinically
And
good at
that's-
puzzles. Yeah.
Clinically good
Right.
at pattern
Yeah.
recognition.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm telling him, I'm like, like, I'm really into this stuff, and I'm not having an attention deficit because you're keeping me engaged. Like, you're literally giving me like continuous feedback on how good of a job I'm doing.
Yeah.
You are like, you are force feeding me dopamine right now. Like,
Yeah.
and then
Oh
yeah, man.
With Christopher, it was like some sort of numbers thing, which is like his shit.
He memorizes license plates.
He is the classic memorizing
Right.
license plates. And so they're like, memorize these numbers. And then he would.
Well,
and
and
then
that-
they
and
would
that
do
was-
more. And then they would, yes. And then he's like, it was so great. And I was like, I think you just failed.
You're not supposed to have fun.
Yeah.
and so
point isn't
that's one
fun.
of those things. So he did all like the memorization things, right? Where he would read me like these long, complex stories, and then he would ask me to memorize details. Like you don't get to see the text or anything, right? Like you just have to listen. And then he asks you for obscure details that no one would
That's
fucking remember.
Hot
And I
garbage,
remember
because
all
no
of them.
one does that except for
Is
you,
he looking-
apparently. Yeah.
Is he looking for you to remember them, or is he saying
Also,
you
isn't
shouldn't
that
remember
a
them?
South Park episode?
Maybe, probably. I
Because
don't know.
remember when they did like a Ritalin episode? Not that I watch South Park often, but they do have a ADHD episode when Ritalin was new and they were giving it to a lot of children, and it doesn't shed ADHD in a great light. And
Surprise.
Yeah.
I don't really like that episode, but that was the test. Is they read a really boring book to all these children. The kids fell
Yeah.
asleep, and they're like, "Oh, they all need Ritalin," and that was the joke.
Well, and so his whole model seemed to be about cognitive impairment.
Hmm.
I don't.
And so
This
and so
guy, is he still okay.
So we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Simmer.
All right,
I'm-
take your centors and hold them. Hold your centors.
Where's my Nito?
Yeah.
Have a good squeeze on your
Thing's
needle.
gonna
Yep.
Take it
bust
out.
open.
Yeah. He's over in the corner.
So, so I go through those tests, and then he gives me like a bunch of fucking like mental math tests and shit. And he's like, you're literally like the first person to answer all of these correctly in like 30 years, which that's a red flag, huh? 30 years?
Yeah.
What? You're doing the same shit 30 years later? Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So-
Maybe update those tests.
Yeah. So, and I was like, well, Doc, here's the thing though. Like you just told me like I answered this fast, but here's the thing. Like, so for example, this is why, like I talked about like dyscalculia briefly. I have never really had a problem understanding mathematical theory. When I'm doing arithmetic, if I go to take a math test, I read the numbers. I know what the numbers are supposed to be in my head. And when I write them down, they are incorrect.
Yes, I do that too. Where it's usually like reporting blood pressures or like
Blood pressures.
blub 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 blub.
Yeah.
That's what it does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, blub.
Yeah. You'll like triple, quadruple check them, and you're like, "Yep, I got it." And
Got
it's like,
it.
nope,
It's
that's wrong.
Like
Yeah.
completely. All surgeons I work with, they're like, "What was the lactate?" And I'll be like, "It was 6.1, which is death." And they're like, and I mean, sorry, 1.6. My bad.
yeah.
Yeah, I mix them around. If I have like two numbers underneath, like here's their potassium and here's their sodium, I mix them. Sodium's like in the hundreds. Potassium should never be above 6 either. So like I know it's not correct, but I just say the wrong numbers. Numbers are hard.
Numbers are
They're
hard.
hard.
Yeah, so like say for example, if you give me the math problem, like what's 5 times 12?
Mhm.
Okay. So I like know in my head just from times tables or math for the past 30 years, like, okay, yeah, I know that's 60, right? But I might get it wrong. So I check myself. Okay.
Mhm.
So I go, okay, 5 times 12. Well, that's also 5 times 3 times 4. 5 times 3 is 15, times 4 is 60.
Is this that new math that they're teaching?
No,
at
this is the shit that we learned.
Mm.
It's like the distributive property or associative property or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, 5 times 3 times 4, that's 15 times 4, that's 60. Okay. And then I do it the other way. All right, 5 times 4 is 20, times 3 is still 60. Okay, so now I've done the math 3 different ways and I've still gotten the right answer, so I'm probably got the right answer, right? I was like, well, okay, let's do that one more time. 12 breaks down into 4 and 3, 4 breaks down into 2 and 2. So I do 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 3 is 6, 10 times 6 is 60. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And I do all of that in a third of a second because I've had to, because
Jeez.
I was in fucking AP calculus with what's his name? Mr.
You're
I was
looking
not
at the
an
wrong
AP
guys.
calculus.
Yeah,
Mr.
I was not an AP calculus.
Mr. Landry.
Oh yeah, no, that was not us. I was
Yeah.
in calculus, but
Yeah, I was in just the regular kids calculus.
I
yeah.
just drew turkeys on the board.
You did.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, and there were actually tests I did in his calculus class that I got zeros on because I did all the technical math right, but my numbers were off.
Oh my god, that's
Nice.
infuriating.
So,
Did you also struggle with like having to show your work because it was all
yeah,
brain work?
Mm-hmm.
right. Like, yeah, I'm
That's
gonna,
bullshit.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
I do, like, I understand why they want that in that context. Like, I
Mhm.
do get that. I don't really fault them for that. It is at odds with how people's brains work.
Yeah, especially the autistic brain. If you're
Yeah.
like able to hold those numbers in your head, yeah.
Right. Because, like, it's really easy for me to do that thought really quickly.
Mm.
But if I have to write it out, it's like, I don't know, it feels like I'm like fucking dragging a rock to build the pyramids.
Real.
Yeah.
You know? So he's given me like all these math problems. Like, oh, you're answering this so quickly. I'm like, well, yeah, doc, because I've learned these strategies. Like,
Mm.
I've had to do this just to get by. So, like, you see me say the answer really fast, and maybe it looks impressive to you. This is grueling for me.
Mm.
And he's like, but you figured out a solution, so you're fine.
Well, that doesn't
No.
mean that there's not a
Oh
problem.
my god!
Why
I
would
figured out a coping mechanism.
Yes, because
Who
there was
is
a problem.
This man?
Yeah.
I know. We got to get this guy fired if he's
Unreal.
still around.
And
Yeah.
so that was the first day, right?
And there's another day I wouldn't have gone
So-
back. I would have been
well-
like, this is a waste of money.
So here's the thing. So then I happen to be talking to my dad about it, okay? And my dad mentions that he was evaluated for autism in the 70s.
Whoa.
I did not tell him anything about my actual testing experience, and unprovoked, he starts telling me his testing
Oh,
experience.
no.
And all the tests are the fucking same.
No.
Great.
I'm
I
like,
hate
oh.
that.
Despite
Y- y-
everything
yeah.
we've learned about autism in
Yeah.
the last 30
The
years.
whole
Yeah, you got like
guideline
the red
has
and white
changed,
cubes
yeah.
that are broken up into triangles, and you got to like fucking tilt them to make the pattern and shit, you know?
No.
Yeah. Which I love that. I
No.
love that. That's
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I fucking love shapes, man.
You got too many shapes in there, if anything.
Get them all out. Just put them in order. So,
Oh my God.
so he's telling me all this, and I'm like, okay, all right. And I was like, well, Dad, why, like, you know, like, are you autistic or not? And he's like, well, like, he's like, I do think I am autistic, but the problem was when the doctors told his mom back then, like, autism carried the connotation of now your child is literally like locked up in a facility,
Mm.
Yeah.
even though
And
like
it's about to be.
right,
Mhm,
and that was the thing. I mean, like, legally that had been bypassed. Because I think it was like the late 60s, I think, when when that was taken away. So like that wouldn't have happened to him, but that was still the stigma. Right?
Yeah.
It was basically like, okay, if your child is autistic, they are like non-functioning.
Mm.
Yes.
So she denied the diagnosis.
Mm. That's heartbreaking.
Well, she was
but I
probably trying
understand.
to save him.
Yeah.
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 And I've joked before that my dad is so painfully autistic that I'm just autistic by virtue of like the overflow.
Mm, osmosis, yeah.
Yep. And as it happens, you know. So I was like, okay. And then, so I go to the second day, and the second day is like a couple hours of recap. Then like he reviews the test and he gives you the result, you know. And so I'm talking to him, and you know what this guy says to me? You're going to love this, Kristen. He says,
I'm already mad.
oh,
Your squeezy ball.
yeah,
I've
yeah,
got
start
it.
squeezing.
Yeah.
He goes, I can always tell when someone's autistic within 5 minutes of them walking in the room.
You can't, though.
I was like, I'm gonna skin you alive.
Mhm.
And he said you weren't autistic?
yeah. And so here's the thing. He goes, okay. He's like, all right. So I know you're really smart. So I'm gonna talk to you about this like you're one of my colleagues. And he like lays out his whole whiteboard, right? And he talks about the physiological model of how the brain wiring is different for ADHD and autism. And he's like, in ADHD and autistic brains, you know, this, and this. Therefore, people will experience this, and this. And I'm thinking in my head, like, yep, I have all of those things. And then he says, but your testing didn't show any of that, so you're not ADHD or autistic. Like, I'm going to wear you as a hat. So,
Get on my head. He didn't want to like
What?
ask you if you have those experiences.
Yeah,
No,
he just wanted
he's
to
like, you didn't test.
look at these arbitrary
Yeah.
tests.
It just says like Pepe Sylvia on it or something like
Yeah.
that. Like, what the hell?
If anything, those tests should have proven like, yeah, you're definitely autistic.
and so as he talks through his work and he's talking about his experience with autistic people, it's like when I see adults present with autism, it becomes very clear now that all of his work is for people with high support needs, like
Yep.
really high support
Mm.
needs.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, cool. Low-key ableism.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then his final report literally was, you are too smart to be mentally ill. You should not be diagnosed with
No.
depression or ADHD
No.
or autism.
That's not how any of that works.
And he said, at best,
ugh.
your symptoms are a result of over-intellectualization as a trauma response to PTSD.
Shut the fuck up. That
Fuck this man.
was he calling ADHD and autism mental illnesses also?
I don't know, maybe. In my opinion, they certainly can be.
They can, yeah, definitely be comorbid
But-
with mental
They-
illness, but yeah, it's a brain
it-
structural difference.
It's
yeah.
not a mental illness, and
Being smart doesn't, I mean, the
That
autistic
has
brain
nothing to
processes.
do with anything. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with
Yeah.
anything. And same with depression. It doesn't. You can be the smartest person in the world, and you can still be super duper depressed, and probably more likely to
Yeah.
because you're the smartest person in the world. And you can be the dumbest guy alive and you can still be really sad about it. It has nothing to do with intelligence. Neither does ADHD and neither does autism. And I don't like that. And I hate that you went through that experience.
Well, the autistic brain processes 42% more information than the allistic brain. And so if anything...
Oh, it'd be a lot cooler if it didn't.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. I could have a little less. It also doesn't go through synaptic pruning. So everything that you learn just stays in there.
Yeah.
So you being able to
I'm just full of stuff.
Yeah. You having all that stuff in there should be like, yeah, okay, so definitely autism, because otherwise how could he keep all the stuff in here?
Right. And give me like a fucking pop filter for my brainstem or something?
Yeah.
Like...
Well, I'm going to say, Seth, that I believe you have what's called peer-reviewed autism.
Oh.
Which is fellow autistics saying, yes, I see it in you, and I think it's there. So you got that peer-reviewed diagnosis, even if you don't get the official one from this neurologist who should be out of business, frankly.
Well, and so that was the thing. He sent his, because I like consented for it and everything. He sent the report to my therapist and my psychiatrist, and they both read it. And they're like, "What the fuck?"
Good.
We're never sending anybody to this guy again.
Yeah.
Nut job.
God.
Now,
Unreal.
He didn't bill me.
Thank
Thank
God.
God.
He didn't bill me
though. That should have been a few
I
thousand.
think, like,
He's like, I'm going to get sued.
no, I think it was fun for him. Like, I think he had fun. I had fun. I had fun taking the tests. I think he had fun giving the tests. And I just think
Just a couple of guys hanging out.
Doing brain puzzles.
Dude, I think he was probably autistic too.
Probably.
Honestly.
First of all, neurologists, of course they are. They all are.
Yeah, I think any like specialist like that is
Hyper
autistic.
specialist, neurology, surgery, a specialized
Well,
surgeon.
and like he wasn't picking up on my social cues.
No.
And he had
Because
really
he probably
rigid...
had the same one. He's like, this guy's got perfect social cues.
But he's telling himself I'm too smart to be autistic, so this guy can't be autistic.
And he had really rigid frameworks about how he was to interpret.
Because he's a neurologist.
Right.
And that's what they do.
Yeah.
Because they're all autistic.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not all autistic, but there's a bulk majority.
I bet they are, yeah.
The environmental constraints select for certain traits.
I want to talk about this more in a separate episode because we'll be here all day.
Yes.
But there are some areas in healthcare where it just helps if you have neurodivergence of one point or another.
Yeah, of course. You got to hold all that information in there.
I think it's helpful to be autistic in healthcare because one different thing will happen and everyone panics. But then you're like, man, everything that happens is a different thing that happens that makes me freak out. This is just another fucking Tuesday.
Right.
And so you're calm and everyone else is like screaming and on fire and you're just like, all right, well, I guess this is life now.
Because we're more used to having to like force ourselves to be flexible with changes and differences, whereas other people, they don't have to do that. You're right. So when they do, they haven't been practicing.
Oh my God, they called in an emergency case. It's Saturday on a holiday weekend. What the?
Of course there's going to be emergency cases.
Well, plus it's the pattern recognition of like, we probably could have foreseen this, so that makes sense to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys know Cassandra syndrome?
No.
Oh, okay. So here's one for you.
Oh.
I mean, you probably know this, but just like not the name. So Cassandra, a famous oracle from Greek mythology, right? I can't remember exactly what she did. I think she pissed off Apollo or something. And if I remember correctly, Apollo cursed her such that all of her visions would always be exactly true, but no one would ever believe her.
Oh, I've heard of this.
So Cassandra syndrome is the sort of like autistic neurodivergent phenomenon where you can very clearly see horrible shit about to happen and you're like, hey, maybe we should do something about that. And everyone's like, the fuck are you talking about? Are you nuts? And then it happens. And they're like, if only there was some way we could have foreseen this happening.
This. I think I said
and
that.
you're like ripping all of your
today.
hair out.
Literally said that today.
That is one of my classic
yeah.
lines. If only we could have foreseen this.
Yeah. If only there was some fucking way.
If only there was someone we could have listened to. Yeah. You're right. That is the autistic curse, especially. Yeah. Is that you can't turn off that pattern recognition.
It's like, what is it? It's the like the Austin Powers scene where like someone's in like a steamroller going down a hallway. And they're like about to like run over someone, but they're all the way down the hall. Yeah. No, that's what it's like to work in a hospital and be neurodivergent.
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
It's very accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. And like always with these guest episodes, we don't stop the conversation where we should, and we don't turn it into 2 parts. So we kind of just talk and talk for a 2-hour block. And then I have to kind of awkwardly chop the conversation in half, throw one of these little solo recordings in here by myself, and an intro by myself for part 2 of Seth's episode. But you know what? The convo was just flowing and flowing, and we kind of lost track of time, which is okay. It happens. We have ADHD. I'm guessing you guys understand. So hopefully you're okay with this kind of sudden, abrupt ending to the episode. Sorry it has to be like that, but that is the way we are, and that is how things are going right now. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you learned a lot from Seth's episode. Sorry we've been just kind of randomly MIA for the last few weeks. Although I did just see on TikTok just this morning, which I feel like vindication, that there has been a huge recall for generic Adderall and generic Vyvanse, extended release Adderall, especially, which I am on. So I haven't had a ton of time to like dive into that and give you guys specifics on what those are. But I think it was like, there's a few different manufacturers that have recalls because they were just letting stuff in that shouldn't be in there, and the medication isn't consistent from pill to pill, which I'm not sure if my manufacturer is in there, but oh boy, have I been feeling like that for the last few weeks. I literally just said to Kristen, I feel like my Adderall isn't working this month. The pills look different than they were last month. So whether it's I'm on one of those recalled Adderall prescriptions right now, or they just switched my generic to like a different manufacturer this month, because even if the dosages aren't messed up by the factory letting in stuff that they shouldn't, I guess, which is a thing that can just happen, cool. But even then, switching, between manufacturers, even on the same medication, can have different effects. It can have different side effects. It can feel stronger or weaker. And I have been struggling so hard these last 3 weeks, which is when I started taking this new round of medications. So something's going on with my Adderall. I don't know if it's the recall or if it's the manufacturer or if I'm kind of just dying, because I felt like I'm dying. I felt like I've had zero motivation. I've also had this freaking problem with my right eye, which I've had on and off for years and years now, where it will just feel like there's something in it. I'm always fucking with it, and I'm like ripping out my eyelashes. I'm convinced that there's like an eyelash sticking into my eye, and it just ruins my whole day, of course, because that's all I can think about. It gives me like wicked tension headaches because I'm just like constantly scrunching my eyes and messing with it and like closing it and blinking so much because my eyes are just constantly watering, especially in the mornings. I'll wake up and I'll literally have tears dripping down my face, and I can't get them to stop for the first few hours of the day. So not a great way to start your day. It's really difficult to do any work on the computer because my eyes have just been so sensitive to screens, and I'll start crying and crying whenever I'm working on the computer. So that is the main reason why we've been delayed on getting these episodes out. Also, it's really hard to edit the guest episodes now that we're doing video, because I really like the guest episodes, but it's a lot of like switching cameras back and forth. So I really, really have to pay attention and like be super focused on it. And, I have to go back and be like, all right, I need to switch to Seth's camera because he starts to talk there. And then I need to switch back to us. So it just takes me like 5 times longer to do the video editing for the guest episodes, which is fine and it's worth it. But all of those things have kind of just compounded onto me not getting it done. And every week I'm like, all right, this one, it's like where it reminds me of New Girl, where she is driving to Spencer's house in the first episode to go pick up all of her stuff from his house. And she like gets up to the house and then does another lap around the block. And then every time they think, all right, this one, she's going to stop. Nope, goes around again. And it's like, you're kind of just waiting for something to happen to kind of make you get going. So every week I've been like, all right, God, I can't believe I missed last week. All right, this week I'll for sure get an episode out. I have to do an episode. And then, nope, I don't. Go back around. Nope, not this time. But this time, hopefully, haven't gotten it out yet. This is the outro. But hopefully this will be coming out today, this Thursday, which that means nothing. You'll be hearing this whenever it comes out. So you'll know it's out because you're listening to it. Anyways, all of this rambling is to say, I don't know. I'm sorry we disappeared. We are not ending the podcast. I just had to get over this hump of getting this guest episode out, and like I said, I don't want to make any promises because then I'll feel like it's an assignment and then I'll push against it, which is crazy. But hopefully I will have part 2 of Seth's episode out next week. That's really good too. So I can't wait for you guys to hear it. And then after that, Kristen and I have recorded an episode, just the 2 of us, on burnout, which is definitely also part of what this is. I've just had, on top of everything, no motivation to do anything. So we'll be talking about that because she is also going through a really rough time with the burnout. Usually it's like on and off, or one of us is having burnout and the other one can kind of take the lead and pull us through that tricky patch, and then we'll kind of switch on and off. But this time it seems to be hitting both of us at the same time. So that's why we've kind of taken a little unannounced break, but we're back, baby, and we are hopefully back on track. Thank you guys for sticking with us and sticking around, and we love you and we appreciate you, and we're just so grateful that you guys are understanding of our neurodivergent needs, and yeah, we just love you guys. All right, I will get out of here. You can follow us on all the platforms. You know where to find us. Hopefully I'll get back on TikTok and start posting some clips again, and you can watch these full-length videos on YouTube if you're not watching already. So go appreciate my hard work of switching the cameras back and forth because it took me a really long time, and I hope it's worth it. All right. We will talk to you next week. Yeah, see ya. Woo, woo, woo. Hey, see ya.